Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Drew, and I want to welcome you back to the Learn How to See Better podcast. And we are just going to jump right into things today because what I want to do is keep the momentum going from the great conversation I feel like we've been having, the great discussion that we've been having about life design, taking the bull by the horns, taking charge of your own life, and actually putting a framework in place where you can feel empowered to take back control and start to live the life of your dreams, the life that you would like to design. And it's possible. It really is. It's possible for anyone that believes it to be so. And we've just been kind of going through these last few episodes talking about how you even get started with something like this. How can you even shift your mind to think a little bit more grandiose? So I definitely invite everyone to run it back a few episodes and take a listen so you can see what's been happening on previous episodes of Learn How to See Better. And what today we are going to dive into pretty quickly here is talking about a much more near term to the idea of starting to live life the way you want to. And I'm talking about just the next year out. The last episode, 2022, was talking about what life might look like 3 years from now, because we're really starting long range out and bringing this thing in as we talk about designing where we want our life to end up. You kind of got to begin with the end in mind, as Dr. Stephen Covey would say in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You want to begin with the end in mind. And that's kind of what I'm challenging everyone to do is to kind of think about how in life you can, in the game of basketball, you throw yourself an alley-oop, right? You can symbolically throw yourself an alley-oop in life, doing some smart things now that are really going to set yourself up for a nice positioning in the future, right? So no different than if you take good care of yourself when you're young, chances are you're going to be in a much better position when you're a little older to enjoy some of the benefits of that discipline. So let's get into this and start talking about a nearer term. When you want to think about planning for even just a year ahead, this is easiest to do at the start of the year, right? New Year's resolutions. We've all had them. We all make them, right? It's almost like a tradition. And you think, okay, what could actually be different this year versus last year, so it doesn't just seem like something you participate in and it only lasts for the first few weeks of the year and then fizzles out. Well, it still points back to what we've been talking about, having the right vision set in place so that you're continuing to inch toward those goals, even though you're on a longer term journey. And I think that's one of the things that can really help us out to contextualize this, because you're not looking to conquer the ocean. You're not looking to boil the ocean in 1 year, but you are looking to make advancement. You are looking to show progress. One of the things I think that I failed to do early on in my real estate investing career was to give myself credit for those baby steps early on. Because, even if you think about it, everyone can remember when they first opened a bank account or started to save money, and there was some dollar amount that was probably a lot, right? I remember when $100 was a lot of money, and you'd think, okay, $100 is so much money because I only have $3 or $5 or $1 or no money. And so, when you're just kind of crawling first out of the gate, $3, you feel like you're so far away from that goal, but you are making measurable progress, believe it or not. So we have to pay attention to that. And I think when we start to look at life on a bigger, more grandiose scale, when you're just 1 year in to a 10-year plan, you're only a dime into a dollar, so to speak, at least figuratively and financially, right? So, just a year in, I think it's all about just starting to move the needle, just getting out of park, right? If you want to completely transform and revolutionize your life, a lot of big changes have to be looked at as kind of like an elephant. And how do you get an elephant? One bite at a time. So you got to look at, what baby steps can you take because you want to start to get small wins. Small wins are so important because they start to provide a psychological blueprint that's shifting the energy from past failures to future forward motion and movement and progress. And when you look at success and a lot of times how it's defined, it's making progress towards your goals. It's not necessarily having to be deemed as the achievement of the goal, but continued progress towards your goals and the life you want to live. That's part of what successful living is about, is continually trying to grow and to reach your potential, and to be able to benefit those around you while you're doing it. Hey, what better than that, right? But as we break this down and start to look at it from an example of how you might be able to do that, it is pretty easy to segment it into categories so that you can give yourself an opportunity to identify small adjustments that you can make in each category, because sometimes you're going to have a little more resistance to making certain changes in your life in certain areas, and sometimes you're going to find that certain change is pretty easy. So knowing that, you want to give yourself almost like a token to play each kind of game, right? So if you wanted to look at it and break it up, you could say, hey, my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical health, my financial health, my, the different relationships you have. You can categorize it so many different ways, or you could keep it simple. Most people want to, just when you tie it back to New Year's resolutions, they want to make more money and lose some weight. So you could say, all right, health and financial, just as two categories to look at, because, your health is kind of like your finances. It doesn't take care of itself, right? So, you've got to do something proactive in that regard. Those could be two categories. You say, well, I want to set a simple health goal and a simple financial goal. And you can look 12 months out and say, okay, these are some things I'd like to at least have in place. Maybe for some people it's setting up an automatic savings account. Maybe for some people it's getting a life insurance policy. For others it may be just taking a walk around the block once a day. For others it might be, getting back on a bicycle, or a variety of things, going swimming. So looking at this from a perspective of something that can be done, and not saying, okay, I want to go out and make $1 million or lose 100 pounds. It doesn't need to be so grandiose, even if that is what you want in each of those categories that I'm just using here as an example. And what I would highly challenge people to do is to say, okay, if I gave myself a year of consistent focus, what could I accomplish? And just give themselves permission to dream of what that could look like. I mean, it is 52 weeks, for crying out loud, right? In any area of our life, we're going to be able to make some sort of change. And it's not about necessarily having a total makeover from who you are today. Although for a lot of individuals that I've seen it happen for, that is completely possible. And that ties into desire and everything else. But think of how your life could look a year from today. I remember when, I was first getting exposed to starting a business and being able to have that basic amount of staying power. A lot of the trainers would say things like, if you're just getting started and you want to know what to do, plan to be here a year from today. Commit to being here a year from today. Because just by way of doing that, being a part of the process and participating, you will go through an evolutionary phase over the next 12 months. When you submit to some sort of program or course of action or plan or system, you'll be a beneficiary of it if you just plug into it, respect it, and allow it to work for you. And so it is amazing to see how some individuals can completely transform their world in only a year. So I just wanted to share some of those things with all of you because, at this point it's spring season in Phoenix, Arizona. And if you haven't been able to notice, I got a little nasal activity going on here. But hey, you know what? The show must go on. Just a little allergies in the air. I'm not sick. But we're midway through the year, coming up on that. It's May right now. And as I look to, kind of drive some of these points home, I think about how, I've been able to try and adhere to the same concept. And even when I look a year out, coming into this year, I feel like I had a little bit of an advantage just in the simple fact. Some things were on the horizon from a planning standpoint. We had a baby on the way and that was going to be, and certainly is, a key centerpiece to what we want our year to be about, right? A successful transition from a family of 4 to a family of 5, and welcoming a new baby and growing our family is our idea of how we're living life, and that's one of the most significant things this year, is just being able to apply and intently focus on the family and that quality time, and how precious the window of time is that we get to enjoy just these super simple reminders of the beauty of new life coming into the world, and the infinite possibilities that exist when you bring a new child in the world, and how you want to make sure that you appropriately give the respect and proper time and focus to this very new and unique period of life. And so that's been so much of our goal, is to make sure this year that we're living life to the fullest, making sure that we're properly welcoming our new baby, growing our family, and keeping family in its proper priority level, because the hustle and bustle, while admittedly attractive, that can lure us all in, you do have to keep your priorities in the right order. And that's a lot of why we do what we do currently, is because living life by design and living intently for the things that matter most is the driving factor and that driving fuel to make our system go forward, to make our vehicle move forward as far as our family. And I laugh when I hear about all the instances where you bring a baby into the family. It's like throwing a grenade into your marriage. And I laugh about that, because, kids are also different, and they can be challenging at times. But when you've got a good framework, a good foundation in place, that you are able to communicate and work through these children challenges with the terrible twos and the three-nagers and everything else, you realize that you've got that good sidekick, you've got that good partner in crime, so to speak. You got that bestie that you can move forward with and raise a good family. And I feel so fortunate to be able to have that. And, that's another thing that I recognize is important, is that making sure that as you go through these family transitions, that everyone in the family is feeling loved, right? Whether it's the middle child, the oldest child, from a spousal standpoint. Again, the focus being about the baby, but about the family as well. And I see now, which I couldn't see when I was younger, how all these things just play into one another. And you think about how these things that you hear about, new baby is a grenade to the marriage. Okay. And I can see why, when it's sleepless nights and all the drama that can occur with that. And all these other instances where, you got the middle child flipping out because they're the middle child. They don't get any attention. The oldest got some, the youngest gets some. What happened in the middle? And you see how a lot of these sacred cows really can be blown up. And that's what makes me feel good when I start to think about how, my life could continually evolve. Hey, 3 kids, might have more, who knows, right? But the idea that I don't operate with these fears or concerns that, if you go from 2 to 3, you're gonna have a middle child and they're gonna be a terrorizer. If you go from 3 to 4, you're gonna have half a basketball team and all this other stuff. And I'm just enjoying this ride. And I make sure that no matter how big the family grows, there's enough love to go around, and that we keep all of our love tanks full, and we make sure that the marriage has the proper focus as well. It's not just about parenting and running after the little ones. And so that's so important to us as we look out towards the year. And, I encourage everyone to keep that in mind, especially if you've got a young family and you're going through this continuous churn period, whether it's kids switching schools, you got the summer season, the winter season, and everything else. Keeping the proper focus on the forefront is going to be a very big beneficial thing to having peace and love in the home. And some of these goals that I have, that we have for the year, are specific to us, but at the same time they could quite possibly relate to you, right? Whoever's listening to this right now might have a family and be able to take something from this. So I'm hoping that by virtue of me sharing what some of my own goals are and some of my own outlook for the year can be used for someone else that might be able to say, yeah, these are some of the same things or similar things, at least, to what I might want for myself and how I might be able to structure putting some of that in place if I don't have all of it now the way that I want to. And that's going to be very beneficial as well. So you can see that just right there, everyone's got love. So you check that box. Baby's taken care of. Kiddo's taken care of. Hubby and wife taken care of, right? What are we doing next? We're empowering our children. That's our goal for the year as well. We want to be able to teach them and learn new skills with them. We believe in a lifelong learning. We believe that we're all able to continuously learn new and exciting things. And the more I learn and the more I get exposed to new information that is amazing to me, I become more and more aware of how much of it I could have known a decade ago, 2 decades ago, and in some cases 3 decades ago, that could have made major impact to way that I live today or ways that I see the world today. And why not let my children have the opportunity to do that alongside of us? Give them an unfair advantage, right? Or just the opportunity to not miss out on some of the things that I didn't get the chance to do when I was younger. And we're going to extend that experience by making sure that we do the things that matter most to us and making sure that we're continuing to spend quality time, not just with one another, but with our loved ones, and being intentional about how and who we spend that time with. And that's just, makes the time that we spend that much more rewarding, so that we don't fall into the trap of just carelessly spending time with people and not creating more memories, take more pictures, make the most of the moments that we have when we have them, because you never know when you'll have less time than you might have planned for. And so I think that that's just a philosophy to live by. It's just to make the most of the time that we have while we have it, because the cycle of life is always moving. The only constant in the world is called change. And as we change, as we grow, we will want to continue to contribute. We want to continue to be able to not just show our growth, but share our growth. We want to be able to inspire others. We want to be able to show individuals that certain things are possible for them as well, because some of the things that we've achieved, that are nice to haves in the world, it's like, hey, this isn't exclusive to us only. You can do it too. Why not? So whether we're teaching people how to learn how to see better, or to live with definiteness, or to be dining with the Davises or rise with Risha, we want to be able to inspire people and inspire others through our messages of positivity and life experience. Because what better way to do your part to show an appreciation for that which you have received, the blessings of knowledge and wisdom, and to be able to propagate that through the universe is just us doing our part to make the world a better place. And we feel that it's one of those things, like Zig Ziglar said, if you help everyone else have enough of what they want, you'll be able to have everything that you want. So we're continuing to live and think about, ways that we can live abundantly by having a servant mentality and helping others to grow personally, helping others to grow their businesses, to have more success with their businesses, streamline their businesses, get some of their, some of the junk in their head out of the way, some of the stinking thinking that can toxify our businesses and our relationships, right? So we do want to be able to help others build and grow in a variety of ways, because that in essence is a lot of our mission. And this is just, a snippet of a bigger picture. And as far as, what we're focused on for 2019, I think that's a pretty nice and clean snapshot of it. And for the purposes of, just sharing this in more of kind of a storytelling format, it's not necessarily so specific to certain numerical statistics about, this many units of this or this many of that, but just kind of share it in concept, identifying areas of life where we want to see growth or maintain the abundance that we're already enjoying. That's really the frequency that we're tuned into right now. And we feel right about it. We feel like it's the right frequency to be tuned into. And so far so good. And we're just, we're enjoying the trajectory that we're on. We're on the fast track. We're going somewhere, and we want to take people with us. So there's a lot that can be done with a year, and being a pretty ambitious individual that I at least identify myself as, I want to share it with all of you that even if you're, if you had a New Year's resolution that fell apart and now it's mid-May and you feel like you've stumbled out of the gates, hey, it's not too late. It's not too late at all. Might be the second quarter. It's not the second half. Let's go, right? So, but it starts with having a plan, putting something together, giving yourself enough love and self-care to take the time to think about what you might be able to do. And even if today is day one and we're looking out to next May, to start to gain clarity around that which you would like to see in your life, because it is attainable and you can start to move that needle. And a year might seem like a long time, but just a few flips of the pages off the calendar, really. And time seems to move faster every day. So isn't that a bonus? Every goal that you set's a year out, every year it gets there a little bit quicker. So how lovely is that to think of? But hey, that's what I've got for you guys today. Hopefully some good nuggets that you could take away. Do not underestimate what you could tackle in a 12-month time frame. Once you've got some clarity on what can be done, you can then put in a better structure for how you can even break that down further to see what things need to be executed on quickly to be able to close out and have the results that you want to see. So that concludes this episode, and I can't wait to catch you guys again on the next one. And be sure to tune into this content and share it with or tag a friend that might be able to benefit from some of this. So until next time, take care and thanks for joining. See ya.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.